everybody. Thanks so much for being with us today. This is Miranda Palmer from ZittyMe.com and the lovely
Kelly Higdon. Hi, welcome.
And we are so excited to introduce many of you to Lisa Mitchell from InnerCanvas.com. She is a extremely talented art therapist who has developed this way of sharing her passion in a really interesting and unique way that has a huge impact on our community and our world. And so we're going to do a little interview with her today so that you can learn a little bit about what she does, but maybe also be inspired about taking your passion into another direction that might help you impact more people. So we're going to start. Lisa, tell us about how long you've been doing art therapy and why you decided to do that.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. You guys look so cute here on the screen. I love it. So I started, let's see, I was licensed in 97, and I started even before that working pretty heavily just as a agency worker and weaving in art therapy with my social work roles and my school-based therapist roles, and doing anything I could to really just hone my skills. And I've been in private practice since 2003, just as an art therapist and a marriage and family therapist combined. I got a dual degree. And the reason why I started to sort of expand my business was I started to get calls from therapists who wanted to know how to get art into their practice and use it with their clients in a way that was, you know, of course, ethical, but also really effective. And so unbeknownst to me, I just sort of became a trainer for therapists and how to do that. And then subtly it started to morph into this just really amazing kind of realization that therapists want to be creative and they don't really know how. And when they took my courses on how to use it with clients, they started to say things like, but if I knew how to do it for myself, I would know how to do it for my clients better. And it would also just totally enrich my practice, the way I'm with clients, the way I view my work, all that kind of stuff. So that's my newest kind of addition to what I've been doing. It's been so wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What has been your biggest surprise as you've expanded your work in this way? What has been the most surprising aspect of it for you?
You know what is so, I don't know if it's, well, I guess it is surprising. It's just so touching to send out a blog post or make a contact on Facebook and have therapists who are really willing and wanting, craving the discussion and the sort of the deep dive kind of exploration into how their work affects them, and both in this like incredible, wonderful way, but also in this, oh, it's really hard work kind of, it takes a lot out of us kind of way, you know? And so for me, getting that kind of feedback really is, it inspires. It's like this feedback loop that continually gives me more energy and more interest. And so that's just totally surprising that people from like Australia and, you know, and New Zealand and, you know, all over the country, it's just been great. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that piece of being someone who is impacting therapy in a deep and profound way, that then allows them to impact their clients in a deep and profound way. All of a sudden, what you've been doing in your space, in your little area of the country, has now become something global to help our world heal. I mean, that's just, the internet is awesome.
It is. It's really, really neat. It really is.
I think that's why we love having you to talk to therapists today about this stuff, to show what's possible for their practices. I mean, it's inspirational, and part of being creative is getting outside of just sitting in the chair all day long. And whether you're in your office or online, there's lots of other ways to help people, and you inspire people to do that.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
It's really good. You know, and I think the other thing is that, you know, my whole, with the joy and the bliss and the kind of great energy that creativity brings, I think it also, you have to sort of walk that line with fear and risk, you know? And so I do that very well one-on-one with a client and with my own artwork. But for me, doing it with an online platform and the technology and the how-tos and all that kind of stuff, that's been really a really big stretch and an out-of-the-box kind of experience for me. Mm-hmm. But like any creative endeavor, I think that when you do that, the stretch is so worth it. It's so, as a matter of fact, it's kind of like a rule of thumb that I have. The scarier and the more risky it actually is, I think that the better it's going to be on the other side, So, yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah.
And do you notice, even stretching and growing in this area of your clinical practice and how you've expanded your training practice, that it's impacting you personally in a different way? Like, what are some of the unique things that have happened for you personally from branching out in this way?
That's a great question. I think for me, teaching therapists the inner workings of the creative process has made me become more and more familiar and even intimate with my own creative process. And, I think in particular, I've had to come with a lot more trust that things will develop and things will turn out, and, that pushing or manifesting or implementing in a really sort of hardened kind of non-creative process way is something that I don't want to do anymore. Mm-hmm. And so I've come and I work with people in my online class to really identify the difference between a stuck place that feels like there's just a waiting and a gentle sort of easing into, as long as you sort of trust that creativity there, that things will come, things will manifest, versus I'm going to make this thing happen and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to every day, and, that kind of forceful kind of thing. Mm-hmm. They both work, but for me, I've learned that I'm not willing to do that old kind of way where I have to force everything and make sure that to falsely believe that I'm in control and I can manifest, right?
Mm-hmm. I do. I think there's that for me, I think it's a connection of both, because I think I've been in that flow kind of place, but I've also used that as an excuse to not do what I needed to do, because I'm a little bit, all over the place. So finding where those two things intersect, where I take full responsibility and I really shift into the things that I know really work, but also like allow that place of flow and to be able to pull back and to be restful and to have real balance and to move into activities that fit with where I'm at in that moment, has been really powerful. Like I write when I'm in the mood to write. I don't necessarily get down and go, I must write every day. And yet I make sure that I'm moving forward in my business, because otherwise I can kind of get stuck and not make movement forward. And then I get depressed. So why isn't anything moving forward? Well, because I'm stuck in my bed watching Scandal, nothing's going to happen if nothing happens. So
yeah. And I think therapists do that too with clients, get stuck in that trap where it's sort of like we either go too process oriented and we just respond and there's no overarching kind of goal or plan, or we lose our way with that. Right. Mm-hmm. And that can feel kind of flowy, but it's not really sort of applying creativity to the experience and knowledge that we have, our treatment planning, our theories, our techniques, and all that kind of stuff, right? Yeah. And then we also can get to that other side where we're just like, we're going to learn this thing and I'm going to change you and you're going to, do this homework and I'm going to, it's sort of this, that's exaggerated, but we get to this determined place where it's just too much on that side, right? Yeah. And so I like that, Miranda.
Are you saying you remember? I've actually been out with the manual with my clients. I'm opening up the manual and I'm reading. I'm so we're gonna try something new today, but I don't know how to do it really in the moment, and I want to make sure I don't mess it up because I want to do it perfect. Because I know if I don't do it perfect, nothing's gonna work. So I'm going to pull out my manual and we're going to read over it together.
Right.
I'm so glad that it's not like that anymore, but
I think for me, when I've reminding myself over and over again that being a therapist is being creative, and that it is an art form, and that it's constantly changing, and there is constant energy exchange. And that when I'm not enjoying it, or it seems stuck like that getting some outside help is really important, because sometimes you can't see the bigger picture, the forest for the trees, whatever you may. And I think that's what you do for therapists, really, is to help pull back and reinvigorate them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, it's a great in tandem tool to have your creative process align with like a consultant or, a supervision group. Because I think that a lot of times therapists go to consultation in order to get instructions, right? Now, there are excellent consultation groups that aren't totally about that. They're more process oriented and more, helping the therapist sort through, right?
Right.
Which is great. And using your creative process, like the Inner Canvas asks you to do, is sort of like having your inner consultant, where when you get stuck, you don't say, oh my gosh, I don't know, I have to look to somebody else to tell me.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like, I don't know, I'm on the verge of something really, really good here, okay? And if I sit with the I don't know, and I say to myself, okay, I can be creative, I'm an artist, I have so much knowledge and experience, and, use any kind of creative practice that I teach and that you can implement, like going for a walk, or doing some kind of art, or doing some kind of handwork that gets your hands moving, or even doing the dishes, something repetitive that lets your mind just sort of float away. There's often answers just waiting there. And I think that we just too quickly skip over that and go, oh my gosh, I can't figure it out, it's too much, I have to go find an answer. And when therapists learn that they have this resource that they don't really realize they have, they do things like, I had a therapist in my last group of Art Fix, and she said she was ready to retire. And in the month of the group, she implemented two new counseling groups that she was totally revived to do, because she's like, oh, I don't have to be in that space of I'm too overwhelmed, I don't know what to do. I can just let it go. I totally know what to do. So there's that other, I know, it's really inspiring. There's that other layer that I think that we skip over and devalue as therapists too much,
Well, Miranda and I are all about finding your value. So if you activate people's value, that makes us happy.
Well, and I think the other part, I love that you're talking about that therapy doesn't just happen between a 45 minutes, or what is the CPT code is between 38 and 54 minutes or something. Right. That it happens in our daily life, and that we need to create space outside of that session in order to process through and to be really good at what we do. There are things that happen outside of that, and we need to create time for that.
Yeah.
So I would love, I know we don't usually do this on here, but I would love for you to tell us a little bit more about your program and when it starts, because I think it's so powerful for therapists, and we're just really excited about what we're doing, and Kelly and I are probably going to be in your group because we're really excited about it. So tell us a little bit more about the program that's coming up.
Yeah, so it's a 4-week group, okay, and it's all online, okay, and I'm really focusing on talking to therapists of all different levels. So seasoned therapists to even interns, and I've had a student participate in the process. And while people of different levels of experience get different gems from the online course, I think that it's applicable on both sides. Okay, so I just want to say that absolutely anybody can benefit. There are 4 video lectures that are sort of didactic, very thorough, well thought out kind of lectures that people actually said the first lecture changed her whole perspective so that she could just absolutely make that shift and start working in this way, you know, after the first week. And then there's an art activity that you get every week that goes along with the lecture, okay? And what you would do is you do the art activity, take a picture of it, and put it on the private Facebook group so that everybody can see, and everybody got over the anxiety of, oh my God, I'm showing my art, because everybody was so enthusiastic and so nice, okay? And then that's the following week you get on the phone and you do a live share call with me where we try to really integrate and concisely put into words what you experience with your art, because there's a really important learning experience that goes with doing something nonverbal and then putting it into words, okay? So we do that 4 weeks. You're done, and you're just absolutely blissed out over the fact that you're so creative you can't even believe it.
I can't wait to do it.
I love it. I love it. And it starts mid-January, right?
It starts January 16th. Registration is happening right now, and there's early registration available through the 20th. So if people jump on, the other thing I'm doing is the first 10 people who sign up are going to get a How to Be Creative poster that a graphic designer made. It's really cute. It's really,
that's
really
what
cute.
I love, right?
I know. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, well, then there we go. I get my poster. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Lisa, for spending time with us today. Like, really, truly. And again, we just want to give you like so many like thumbs up and rah-rahs for really just following your passion and following where things were pulling you and directing you, because I know it's scary to follow those things sometimes. So I'm so excited.
Yeah, thank you for doing this. I mean, we love meeting therapists that when we feel inspired, we have to share that inspiration with everyone that's on our list and that follows our community. And I'm so excited for them to find out about your program and if they want to join Miranda and I in it. Because I'm going to be honest, like I'm in the place where I could really use something like that. Right. So I'm really inspired and excited. So thank you.
Thank you so much, you guys.
Absolutely.